What's going on, everybody? Ash's Rules, back in with another video. Let's get right into it. This is going to be part 2 of my trade deadline thoughts slash grades. I'm uploading this on Saturday. That way it's different than the Friday video. Hopefully nothing dramatic happens and it's outdated by Saturday, but it's less than 24 hours. Hopefully not. So, like I said, the first video, if you have not watched it, I gave my grades and thoughts for the first 15 teams and what they did or did not do at the deadline. So, in this one, obviously, I'll be going through the other 15 teams slash my buyout predictions and where I'd like to see some of those players go. So, obviously, we're starting with the Mavericks, who made probably the second, maybe third biggest move of the deadline. But a couple of days beforehand, they traded Dorian Finney-Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie. I'm trying to think of all what they gave up. Dorian Finney-Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie and a 2029 first-round pick and seconds for Kyrie Irving and Markieff Morris, who's probably not going to play for them. It is a crazy deal, and it's very weird because hypothetically, you're swapping Spencer Dinwiddie for Kyrie Irving, who I would imagine 9 days out of 10, everybody would want Kyrie over Spencer Dinwiddie. Dorian Finney-Smith, who is their best defender and a very good three-point shooter. I don't think the pick matters right now. 2029 is a long time away. The pick is kind of nothing to me. It's going to be something one day, but as of right now, I'm not even going to really talk about the pick. The Kyrie situation is very crazy, and right now it seems very calm and tamed. But I imagine it's going to get crazy at some point again. It just always will be. And it's a very dramatic move that did not have to be made. Also, I probably should have done this because in the last video, I did a lot of research where I'm on Fanspell because I want to look at their roster. But I gave them a B- because the whole narrative all year is that Luka is carrying this team, and he has no help. Well, Kyrie Irving definitely is help, but it definitely hurts them because defensively, they're not that good. I will admit with this, though. Luka and Kyrie on the court together, it is going to be hard to guard both of them, and they are very capable of doing whatever with the ball that they want to. So, I will give it that. Offensively, this should be a great duo. Will it work? I think the definition of work, again, is very crazy. Depending on what you think about it, because it obviously is going to have to be, you have to bring Kyrie back. And I imagine Dallas are going to do everything in their power to bring him back. Will he come back? Who really knows with Kyrie? But I wanted to see if they would have cap space in the offseason to like get another guy in case Kyrie isn't there. But they probably want to bring Christian Wood back because they didn't trade him. And they have 2 bad contracts. I think Tim Hardaway Jr.'s contract is okay. Davis Bertans is making a lot of money for somebody that does not do anything, and he will be expiring in he's got 2 years left, this year and next year. So this is definitely a big move, a controversial move. Like I said, I gave it a B-. I don't really hate it just because those two together, it's going to be hard to guard both of them, and I think they will do fine. They didn't make any other moves, even though they probably should have for defensive reasons, but it's just like, you don't want to completely change your team, and they made a big move that they probably won't regret, and they might have, if they hypothetically were to trade Christian Wood, they might regret it. Who really knows? So I give them a B-. And off the top of my head, I don't know of anything else they could have done. There's a lot of rumors and people wanting them to go get OG Anunoby, which I'll get to OG Anunoby in a minute, but it is what it is. The Brooklyn Nets, though, are the next team, and it's very funny because obviously they're involved with the last trade. Whew, they did damage. Obviously, they traded Kyrie. They traded Kevin Durant, which I made a full in-depth video about. I like their team on paper because I was saying it several times, and I've been thinking this in my head ever since we hear rumors that, oh, this Kyrie, KD won out. And I was saying this even before the deadline, like in the offseason where they were controversial and whatnot. Why didn't you just stay the same? You would have saved a big headache with the D'Angelo Russell year. I know he was there the year before, but the D'Angelo Russell All-Star year there, Brooklyn Nets were such a loved team, and they are a team that I've best described. They were just going off vibes. They were vibing with each other. I'm trying to think of the proper word. felt good together. There's the word I'm trying to thrived. Thrived is the word I'm looking for. They were a good team, and I love that team, and it definitely sucked seeing it slowly dissolve, and now all that is left is Spencer Dinwiddie, who was not there for a year and a half, and Joe Harris, who is Joe Harris. He's probably, out of all the guys that are not there anymore, was probably the guy you want the least. But it is what it is. So, like I said, they got Mikal Bridges. They have a crazy team. I gave them a C+, because you trade Kevin Durant, and you could have got a lot more for Kevin Durant. And the reports that I've heard is that they worked with KD and his agent to go to the team that he wanted. He wanted to go to the Suns. The Suns offered this. They said, we want Mikal. They were hesitant, which I imagine they probably weren't, because they couldn't get Ayton because of the rookie extension deal. And Mikal, you have to throw in Mikal. And KD and Mikal probably aren't playing together. You swapping Mikal for KD, which offensively is obviously a humongous leap. Defensively, that's a debate. Not really. But I love Mikal Bridges. So, definitely, I don't know if he's the guy you build around, but he's definitely not a guy that you trade right away. That being said, they also received Jay Crowder in the deal, shipped him off for second-round picks. I don't think he was ever going to be in Brooklyn, be on the team, because he wants to start. I imagine he starts in Milwaukee. So, I gave them a C+, just because this team is in the middle of the pack now. They're not a bad team, but they're not a contender, great team. And in this offseason, they need to do a lot. I don't really know what they need to do. The one thing I am certain about, they need to trade Ben Simmons. If you can get rid of him without giving up like picks attached with it, and you're getting a cheaper contract in it, and just a team wants to take a chance on Ben Simmons, I would do it. If it's the Spurs or hypothetically like, we will give you Doug McDermott, second round picks, and like obviously there would probably be another player involved in that deal, but it's just like Ben does not fit that team. You have a lot of players that are in a similar value. If you want to go get another disgruntled superstar because you have the money, a lot of money to, the only expiring contract that I know of is Seth Curry. The only thing I will say, do not trade Nick Claxton and do not trade Cam Thomas. That's the only thing I really personally want to say about the Nets. But I just gave him a C+ because the C+ is obviously a middle grade. It's not a bad grade, but it's not a great grade. And then for the team, like I said, they're not a contending team. They're not a bad team. I don't think they want to tank because they don't have some of their own picks. So this is very much, I want to see what they do in the offseason. That being said, I'd really like to see them go back to the 2018-19 ways where it was just they were going off vibes. Next, the Nuggets made 2 questionable trades because obviously they traded Bones Hyland for 2 second-round picks, which they just do not like Bones Hyland. They want to get rid of him. And then they traded Davon Reed. And so they got 2 second-round picks back for Bones Hyland, which is definitely very weird because I feel he's probably, I can't say he's the youngest guy on the team, but probably the youngest guy that was in the rotation. He's been out of the rotation for a minute. It's still a very fishy situation, and I don't know. I felt they could have got more for him, but like off the top of my head, I don't know a team that was like, yes, give me Bones Hyland. So the Clippers, that was just, again, a steal of a deal for them. Then they got Thomas Bryant to be their backup center, which is good, which I also went in to talk about the Lakers thing. He wanted more minutes. I don't know how many more minutes he's going to get with being there on the Nuggets. So I gave them, for their trade deadline, I'm giving it a C+, just because they're a contending team. They don't need to make a dramatic move, and they haven't been a bad team. They're the number 1 seed. They've been the number 1 seed almost all year, so none of the moves they made like really hurt their rotation and team. And worst case scenario, I think a buyout player would want to go there if the time is needed. So I gave them a C+ just because like the 2 trades they made is just very questionable. So I was reading an email there. Next, Pacers, B-. I want to be honest with you. They got Jordan Nwora, Serge Ibaka, George Hill. The 2 of them will probably not be there. I believe James Johnson is not on the team anymore. If he is not, the only reason I'm saying that is because I saw a thank yous graphic on Instagram. If he got traded, I have no clue where. Taking a chance, and they did waive Goga Batazzi, which I don't really never know why they had him on the team, but that's besides me. I give it a B minus. Jordan Nwora is a player you could take a chance on. It just, there's a lot of like Andrew Nembhard. There's another guy on the team. The Pacers are a very good team. They're a good team, not very good. I like Tyrese. I love Tyrese Halliburton. So any young player that you can get and take a chance on, go ahead and do it. So that's what they did. I give them a B minus. The Pelicans. I don't think they needed to make a big move. They just got to get their two main guys, Ingram and Zion, healthy. I don't even think they need OG Anunoby, even though they really wanted him. And obviously, they didn't want to give up one of their younger draft picks, Dyson Daniels. Because again, the Raptors wanted a whole lot. I would keep Dyson Daniels. That's just me. I play 2K a lot. I do simulations a lot. There's been 2 to 3 occasions in like 5 years. Yes, like less than 5, like 5 or less years. He wins MVP, which I know 2K you can't really judge compared to real life, but it's just like, I don't know why a video game would be made up. Who knows? But just like, I'm keeping your guys now. You wait till the offseason to see what happens because you don't really need OG. I will admit, they might have needed something because they've been tanking. I can't say, I almost said tanking. They've been in and out on the losing streak just because of injuries. They just got to get healthy. It's pretty much. They did trade Devontae Graham, which was a very questionable, and I can't say, it was a bad contract. When they got him, I believe 2 off seasons ago, which actually that was not this off, this 2 off seasons ago. I thought it was a good deal because in Charlotte he was very good and killing it, and then they honestly got LaMelo and he didn't get to do anything, and then they were going to lose out on Lonzo. So I'm like, that was a good sign for them, but it's just like, he never really done anything there. San Antonio, he might get a chance, but I'm pretty sure they like Trey Jones more than him. But Josh Richardson is just a veteran, older presence that, you know, he's not going to be Miami Heat, Josh Richardson, so I gave them a B+. Next, the Pistons. I'm very, I don't want to say hurt by the trade, but a little bit confused by it. Saddiq Bey. I'm a big Saddiq Bey fan. Went to Villanova. I collect trading cards. I have 2 whole pages of Saddiq Bey rookie cards. And yes, I know he's had a down year. I can't say there's 2 that are not rookie cards. I don't want to put that out there, but 2 full pages of Saddiq Bey cards. But I know he's had a down year. I don't know what the hell Detroit's doing. They want to keep Bojan Bogdanovic because they think next year with Cade, they're going to be a competing team. Which on paper, you have Cade, Ivy, Bogdanovic, Stewart, Duren, Killian. I'm going to keep Killian Hayes because I know people crap on him. He's had an okay, compared to past years, Killian Hayes, this is probably his best year. They have Corey Joseph. I'm trying to think who else. Alec Burks, that is another name who could have been traded. Marvin Bagley and Nerlens Noel. Some of these guys do not need to be on the team. You got way too many centers. And yes, I know they play Stewart at power forward. Marvin plays power forward. But like at the end of the day, they're just bigger bodies. And I'm getting flashbacks to in the older days when they had Drummond, Josh Smith, and who's the other guy? Besides the point, I don't even want to think about it anymore. But now they traded Saddiq Bey for James Wiseman, who they believe has a higher upside. And I like James Wiseman. He has had it rough since being in the NBA. I know he's on the Warriors. I got beef with the Warriors. I didn't really ever have beef with Wiseman. That's besides the point. But they didn't get rid of any of their centers that they had. If you're going to trade for Wiseman, at least trade Nerlens. Like, maybe they want to keep Nerlens Noel for a mentoring reason, because that's why they want to keep Bogdanovic, because they want veterans there, which the thing is, a lot of teams wanted Bogdanovic and were willing to give their veterans and picks. So it's just like, I guess because he like got traded there and was like, yeah, I'll sign this extension, I'll stay here, it don't matter to me. Maybe they like that. It's just like, I like Saddiq Bey a lot, and it definitely hurts that he's not on the same team that he got drafted by. So his whole career, maybe this really helps him being in Atlanta. But getting James Wiseman with already having a bunch of centers, and at some point you're going to have to decide between Wiseman, Duren, Stewart, Bagley, Noel, because you can't play all 5 at once. And if you do, I think that would be atrocious. So, and also, very disappointed that no other team wanted to take a chance on Wiseman. Like, y'all should have really done it. And maybe they will get a chance, but if you can't make it in Detroit, and again, like, I was going to say, if you can't make it in Detroit, I don't know if you can make it in the rest of the league. So it's just very questionable. I gave it a C- because, like, at the end of the day, Wiseman's not, like, god-awful, like, boo. But, like, Trent Saddiq-Bey, I think, is very questionable. Wiseman, I don't know how and when he's going to play. So that's why I'm kind of questioning it. Next. This is going to be a hot take. My lowest grade, the Raptors. Actually, is this my lowest grade? I gave the Bulls a D plus, but I might have called it a C minus. I have wrote down stuff, but sometimes I do not read what is wrote down. You know me. But the Raptors traded for Jakob Poeltl, and this was like literally 10 to 20 minutes before the Kevin Durant trade happened. So this trade, a lot of people have forgotten about. But I did not forget about it because I'm like, crap. There's no way they're trading OG. Right when they traded for Jakob Poeltl, I'm like, they're going to try to compete, etc. So I want to look at the standings because I believe they're like 10th or less. They might be a little bit higher. But I am very salty because apparently they wanted a whole lot for OG Anunoby, which, to be fair, OG has another year left on his deal, and they're gauging the interest, which I don't know, like, you can gauge the interest, but, like, in the offseason, you're probably not going to get the same for him because he's going to be an expiring contract. And some of the teams that will give you an expiring contract, that way you can save money, they're not going to have that player anymore. So right now they're 10th. They want to make the play-in. They want to be mid. They want to face the Bucks, the Celtics in the first round. It'll be a good series, but I don't expect them to win the series if they hypothetically had to face those two teams. It's just like, I'm very salty they didn't trade OG. And then, like I said, I'm on Fanspo. Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr. have player options. No. Yeah. Wait a minute. Yes, I'm looking at OG. Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr. both have player options. They're going to want a lot of money. There's going to be teams out there that are going to offer them a lot of money. Whether they fit on those teams doesn't really matter. I felt that you should have just traded somebody. And again, you hear rumors, and also, Jakob Poeltl is going to be expiring. I imagine they're not going to trade for him if they didn't want to bring him back. So you have to hypothetically pay three of these guys. Your main guy, Pascal. I can understand wanting to keep Pascal because he's I don't want to say a superstar, but he's obviously your best player. And you're probably not going to get anything up. Like, I can understand keeping Pascal. The other three, you should have got rid of one. Because rotation-wise, you cannot play all six of these guys at once. Because you got to play Scotty. If not, you're making an embarrassment of your Rookie of the Year. You got to pay Fred because he's an All-Star last year. You got to pay Siakam because he shoulda, coulda been an All-Star this year. Gary's the one that's got to suffer. And I know he's coming off the bench most of the year, but it's just like, some team out there would have gave you value, and if you really wanted to make a playoff push, probably could have gave you bench depth for two positions. So I'm just very frustrated with him. And again, I'm a Grizzlies fan. I want to keep repeating that over and over again. We allegedly offered them 3 first-round picks, and it's like, we want a player. I imagine we offered them Dylan Brooks. We might have offered them Danny Green and somebody else, but it's just like, we could have worked it out, and they didn't want to. And I'm very hurt that the OG Jaren defensive power hour, I'm fantasizing about it, hoping it for next year, but, like, you got to worry about this year first. But it's just like, I gave him a D+, maybe an F, maybe even a C-, just because, like, getting Jakob Poeltl for pretty much nothing is a good deal, but it's just like, you didn't trade, there's 3 guys you should have traded, and you didn't trade any of them. And your play-in push, I'm hoping bad for, and I'm expecting bad for them. So, I'm just, ultimately, at the end of the day, hurt OG's not a Grizzly. Don't the Raptors talk. Next, the Rockets, a B-. I think they should they need, like, I'm not going to say, I won't say a star. They need somebody there to, like, really help them. Because everything that we've heard is that they're good players. Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr., Kevin Porter Jr., my personal favorite, Alperen Sengun. They're good players. It's just like, they're going to lose a lot. And they're very young, and they still got a lot to learn. They have nobody to learn it from. Eric Gordon was not that guy. I felt bad for Eric Gordon for many, many seasons now because he's had to deal with this for 2 seasons, and then he never got traded when the James Harden and John Wall. It was just like, Houston's a bit of a mess, but they got rid of Eric Gordon. all the guys they got, Danny Green. They got a first-round swap from the Clippers, which it's a pick. Yeah, it's technically a pick. So I gave him a B-, but it's just like, at some point, get a guy there to help those guys. But thank God Eric Gordon's not on that team anymore, and I don't have to see him suffer there anymore. So it is what it is. Phoenix Suns, I'm not going to go in depth about it because I made a 27-minute video about it a couple of days ago. They traded for Kevin Durant, 4 first-round picks, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, Cam Johnson. You get Kevin Durant. And then they also traded Dario Saric and seconds for Darius Bazley. So they definitely need a lot of bench depth. Bazley for pretty much Saric. I don't know. I like Saric. I don't think Suns fans and faithful care that much about him. And Bazley hasn't really done much this year, but he's played with Chris Paul before, so. And he's young, and he's probably ecstatic. He's probably one of the happiest people in the world. He's going to play with Kevin Durant now. And he probably was not expecting that to happen. So, I gave him an A. Maybe it's a B+, maybe like A-, B+, but I gave it an A. You got Kevin Durant at the end of the day. A lot of I can't say all 29 teams wanted Kevin Durant, but there are 29 teams that could have got Kevin Durant, and like there's, I'd say, at least 20 that would have offered balls to the wall things, and they're the one that got it at the end of the day. So, I gave them an A. They need a lot of help, though. They need a lot of help. So, and this is a bit of a hot take / bold prediction. Because I hear and see it a lot. They're like, you have to win now. You have to win this year. Well, they're not winning this year. That's my hot take. They just now got together. They have about 30 games to mesh well together. Offensively, they should be good. Defensively, obviously, is the question mark. But Kevin Durant's coming off an injury. Devin Booker's been injured most of the season. Chris Paul's been in and out of the lineup and has had a down year. And Ayton he's just been there and he doesn't want to be there. He might want to be there now that KD's there, but it is what it is. They're not winning this year. There's way too much on the wrong side than there is the right side for them. So I do not see them winning this year. It's going to be in the offseason where there's these veteran guys that are willing to take discounts, younger guys that are willing to take a chance and play there. That's when they load up and become a good team. Then also, again, in the offseason, the question mark is going to be Chris Paul. But I just don't see them winning this year because they've got time against them. Injuries, needing to play well together is just... And also, let me look so I'm not wrong. They're the 6th seed. But at any given moment, they can lose a couple games that these 3 guys are not in, and they're the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and they got me in the play-in. And from experience, from a lot of teams, the play-in sucks. So, it is what it is. But it's an A. Spurs, I gave a B-. They got Devontae Graham and 4 second-round picks. Give Devontae Graham a chance. I like Devontae Graham. And they got rid of Josh Richardson. Probably should have got rid of Doug McDermott, but it is what it is. I give it a B-. Also, again, they got rid of Jakob Poeltl. Forgot about that. And they got Khem Birch back. I don't know. They got a lot of young guys there that they can play, and they're not doing well. Again, this isn't really a hot take. I'm really hoping Victor Wembanyama ends up in San Antonio. I think that would just be a perfect place for him. Because in Houston, they got Sengun. I don't really want to see them together. The Thunder have Chet. Like, looking at these bottom teams, the Thunder and Rockets have great young centers. The Spurs obviously don't. They don't have a center. They just traded their center. In the East, Pistons just went over. They have like 5 centers. The Hornets, it'd be nice. It would, but I'd prefer them in San Antonio. They have a track record of getting 2 number 1 picks, and they being big man and dominating and whatnot. So that's my hope for San Antonio. Next, Thunder, B-. Again, they traded Mike Muscala and Darius Bazley. They got second-round picks back. They just, they weren't bringing back Bazley most likely. And Mike Muscala is very weird because he's been on the team for a hot minute. So to get rid of him, I don't think they want to make the playoffs anymore. They're the 12th seed. Who really knows what's going to happen with the team due to injuries and whatnot. This is also the time of the year when a lot of their guys sit out. But Shea's been a stud this year. Do something in the offseason, please. Don't just rely on these young guys and drafting guys. Do something in the offseason. If there's a disgruntled player that fits your team, do it. Timberwolves. They traded D'Angelo Russell, who allegedly all year has not wanted to be there, and they've hated D'Angelo Russell. And they got back Mike Conley, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and the Lakers second. It's also very weird because D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt, they've all played together. But it was last year. But it feels so recent that it feels like it was this year too. So, getting Mike Conley is iffy because he has another year left on his contract where D'Lo, I don't think they wanted to pay for. They've been disgruntled with him all year, even though the last month or so he's been very good. And Mike Conley's played. I don't think Mike Conley makes that team worse. I definitely don't think that. I just think they're pretty much just the same team. The question is, how does Karl Anthony Towns feel about it? Because D'Lo's his guy. When they made the trade, it made him so happy, etc. And he has not played in a hot... Again, he has not played in a hot minute. I have no clue when he's coming back. So, Minnesota's just kind of a middle-of-the-pack team. I don't really care what... I like Anthony Edwards. Love Mike Conley. Cat and Rudy, they're not, on my faves list, but it's just... The Timberwolves are middle of the pack. They're the 8th seed right now. I could see them being the 8th seed again, and then, again, you're going to keep hearing it over and over again. The Rudy Gobert trade is terrible. This trade is kind of... It's not terrible, but it's not, balls to the walls crazy. So, I gave it a C+. The Trailblazers, who... Again, got my low... I have a lot of D+. I gave this a D+. It's also weird because they traded Josh Hart for Cam Reddish and a protected pick. And Shleve Mikhailiuk and I believe Ryan Ashley-Yakar are part of that deal. I don't think those last two are important to it. So they pretty much swapped Cam Reddish or Josh Hart for Cam Reddish. Then they traded Gary Payton II for Kevin Knox and 5 second-round picks. And I read a report this morning, and Kevin Knox was a part of the Wiseman deal, so Gary Payton's going back to the Warriors. We'll get to that in a second. So I read a report on Twitter that Gary Payton II hated being in Portland, which is actually crazy because he was hurt most of the year and then just got there. So I imagine he said, pay me. And he's like, yeah, I don't really want to be here, but thanks for giving the money. So that was definitely a very weird situation for everything. Portland, they got Matisse Thybulle, they got Cam Reddish. Defensively, Matisse is fine. So defensively, the Josh Hart problem is going to be, because I imagine it's going to be Lillard, Simons, Thybulle, Grant, and Nurkic. Your bench, I don't know who your backup guard is. I apologize because it was... Let me go to their roster. I'm on their roster now. Dun, 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 dun. I know Shaedon Sharpe. Justice, maybe you put Justice Winslow back at point guard. Nazir Little, Keon Johnson. For playoff, and again, you are the 10th seed. You're going to be in the play-in. You don't have a backup guard now. I don't think any of the buyout guards are going to want to go there. It's a very sad and weird situation to be in. I gave them a D+, but I like Cam Reddish. And again, all these people are players and people turn free Cam Reddish and all this. He got free. If you can't you can't play in Portland after they made these trades, then what? And also, again, this is a bit of a hot take. I think maybe they are feeling that in the offseason they're going to blow it up. But that just might be me. I don't want to talk that much about it. Warriors, A-. They got Gary Payton II back. They traded Wiseman, which was inevitable. That is actually crazy. They traded the second overall pick. But they got Gary Payton II back, who they've missed all year, even though DiVincenzo has been very good for them. But I'm very salty. I don't like the Warriors. I give them an A-, not talking more about it. Wizards. Besides the Kendrick Nunn, Roy Hachimura deal, they did not do anything. C-. See the Bulls for copy and paste reasons. So, that's it for my deadline grades. I will quickly go over buyout predictions. Because, again, not all of these are confirmed or whatnot. Westbrook, if you're not a Clipper, I don't know what's wrong with you. John Wall, very interesting. There's been rumors that he wants to go to the Heat. And that was happening last offseason. When I look at the board of hats, yes, anytime I look back here, I'm looking at my hats. You can't see it. I'd make a video about that one day. Miami Heat needs something. So I'm just going to say for the Miami, I'm going to put Heat for my prediction. Reggie Jackson. He can go to any team, but allegedly the Suns really want him. There's a good fit there. So Suns. Patrick Beverley. I have no clue. I really have no clue. I think actually, I have no clue for Patrick Beverley. Serge Ibaka, he needs to go to the Suns. I'm thinking about Patrick Beverley, so I'm going to skip over it. Serge Ibaka, go to the Suns. They need all the centers they can get defensively, etc. Will Barton, again, I have no clue for Will Barton. He's very good. He's good offensively. Defensively, he's not really much, and he hasn't really played all year. Maybe go to Cleveland because they need help forward-wise, but I don't think he's going to help them defensively forward-wise, so I'm going to put Cleveland Cavaliers. Maybe, no. He's probably going to, I'm going to put Cavaliers. Won't be surprised if he goes back to the Nuggets, and hell, might even go to the Lakers. So, in order of importance, Cavaliers, Nuggets, Lakers. Danny Green. I will be honest. I don't know with him. Looking at the teams, I will admit, I was like, I'm going to look at my house. I have the standings right here. I could have been looking at this the whole time. I don't know. I don't think any West teams like Don to have him. Maybe Milwaukee. Just because they like their players that can shoot threes and defensive three. I don't like saying 3 and D. Like, that's just not me. I'm gonna say Milwaukee, just for the giggles. I wouldn't be surprised if, besides Westbrook and Pat Bev for obvious reasons, some of these players went to the Lakers. And then last, I put Dario Saric. He might stay with the Thunder and a veteran role, like just very much replace Mike Muscala, but I doubt it. And I really like Saric, but again, I would love to see him back in Philly. Like defensively, he's not better than Montrezl Harrell. They're probably the same. So I'm going to put Philly just for giggles because he used to play there, obviously, and I like to see him back there. So again, going back to Patrick Beverley because I'm really thinking hard with this one. Go to the Bulls. You're from Chicago. They need help guard-wise. They want a lot of players. Go to Chicago. I wouldn't mind that. I'm not the biggest Pat Bev fan. Y'all know that. So that is it for my trade deadline grades. I don't know what my next video... I have an idea what my next video will be because I really want to talk about the Brooklyn Nets because I am very fascinated because, again, everybody keeps calling them the biggest failure in NBA history. I'd love to dispute that and talk more in depth about the Brooklyn Nets. So if that happens, y'all will see that when that happens. I'll also, again, I'll talk about go in depth with who my favorites are. I almost said least favorites, but just my favorites in the East and West are. But that would be 2 separate videos, obviously. I have a lot of video ideas. Wrote down which ones and when you'll see it. Who really knows? Thank you for watching this video. I'm sorry I make these videos really long, but I'll start spewing. And it is what it is. So, thank you for watching. Have a nice night.